Hello. New episode this week. I actually finished this one in a week's time, so I'm feeling very proud of myself at the moment. I have no real intro. Let's just get right into it. We're back in Sky Colony doing their emotions chart, doing some fun nonsense for them. This will be the last week that we're with them. Next week, or at least next time I talk about river chasing, we should be talking about the new protagonist, who I'll try to fit in something at the very end of the episode. First one of these I pulled was Snowfoot. This emotion chart, I tried to find a wider range that wasn't just like edgy stuff, and I got Snowfoot being kind of grumpy. Sorry, car. Snowfoot, this feels like a perfect thing for her. She's kind of already got that like grumpy and jealous vibe. I could just imagine her in camp and she looks over and she sees Thunder Cry and Muddy Mass together, and she just gets that jealousy on her face. Like, it's completely believable. This feels like this would just be like you see a little glimpse into the story for a second. Very edgy for her. She thinks her life is over, that she isn't going to be with him anymore. Excellent. It's just perfect Snowfoot. I wanted to pick something that was like less edgy so we have some positive emotions in here, but I really do think that the pure edginess did work pretty well for Lake Colony, because that clan has a lot of edgy issues. I also had to fix her neck here because I made it wider than it should have been. She's a very thin cat. Next is Ember, and he looks, this is kind of like when he makes a mistake, or when he's just not thinking, because he kind of doesn't think about a lot. This would be if he didn't think about his actions, and then he's like now seeing the result of that. I like the expression. I think it's very funny. Not a whole lot to say. I wanted to draw him a little bit older. He doesn't necessarily have a lot of that chin scruff yet, but this would probably be him as like a novice, or probably when he's earned his name and is a dweller, and he's just like, oops, I messed up. I think he would probably be he accidentally talked and startled away a bunch of prey, and the rest of his hunting patrol is like, yeah, good job with that one. I think he looks better. I try to fix up his cheek fluff so it doesn't look as bad as his headshot. That's about it. I don't have a lot to say about Ember. He's just, I could just imagine him being freaked out a lot. He probably has this expression a lot when he's, scolded by, Mapletoft, where he's like, I understand, but I'm also frightened by what you're saying. Because I don't think he thinks much until he makes an action, and then when he makes the mistake, he's like, oh, now I realize that. Next is Zorro Creek, and I was a little bit perturbed with how to do this, because I don't ever take Sorrel Creek to be a kind of offended guy. Like, I don't think you'd be offended any, like, super easily. Maybe if he was told that he would retire, which I didn't think, like, was appropriate, because anyone in Sky Colony would just know that he's not ever going to want to retire. Even if he was retired and, like, forced to retire, he would sneak his way back to helping with medicine. Like, he just likes his job a lot. So it was hard to think of, like, what would make him angry. But I suppose this would be him scolding Coyote Fang when Coyote Fang was younger, because I'm sure that kit got into a lot of trouble. And I think part of this would just be like fake or like false upset, like just to put on a little flair, because I don't think he would actually be that upset at anything. He's a very low-key and chill individual. I think not a lot bothers him, unless you just like stop him from his working. That's all he wants to do in life. So I can't think of a lot of a reason why he would want to be angry at someone or offended. Next is Maple Tuft. Because she's really emotional and empathetic, I can understand her getting upset pretty easily about if any of her novices ever talked back to her rudely, or if there was a death of someone close to her, or a bunch of reasons. And I think that this would probably be a moment if, like, Bramblepelt probably talked out of turn to her, which Bramblepelt is her mate, because he had a pretty large streak when he was younger of being kind of, not the best person, and I think this would take place, like, before the relationship or in early parts of the relationship, where he would have said something and that would have just like set her off and she would have been really upset about that. And I like Mabel Tuft. That's about it. I like her. I like that she is, prone to her emotions and all that. I think it's quite nice to have someone who's not going to hold emotions over someone else, because she understands that, like, there's a certain part of, hey, kids are gonna act their age, or all those things. So she's pretty understanding in that regard, and she doesn't take a lot of that personal, but she'll take it personal if you choose to make it personal towards her. And I think that's what makes her interesting, because she understands a lot of the ways that kids act. I mean, she's had several litters of her own, and she can understand what it's like for kids to act the way that they do. So she never holds your emotions. She never not validates people. She wants to make sure everyone's okay, and lets them be upset and be angry, and tells them that it's okay to do all that. But if you're gonna be kind of rude to her, she's gonna, and if it's uncalled for, because there's a certain level of where she understands if you're being rude because you're just upset, and she's never gonna hold that personal. But if you like snap at her and it was completely uncalled for, then you have kind of made her upset. Frostshine. This one comes with a story. First of all, I was not happy with the sketch. I had done the sketch like a bunch of times. I was very happy when I actually did the line art because it looked cute. I have an issue with drawing really exaggerated mouths in my style, which is why I did all of these sketches beforehand, because I wasn't quite sure how it was going to translate into my style, and I was just like, if I'm going to figure that out, I want to figure that out beforehand. And I think it looks alright. So there's that part. But this moment, I think, is Frostshine seeing her daughter for the first time. And I know I mentioned this in the previous video about Sky Colony, where she and White Thistle, who is also in this video, have a kit together, and that kit unfortunately passed away shortly after she was born. So I think this is Frostshine seeing her daughter for one of the first times and just being so overwhelmed with emotion and just so happy to try to care for her daughter in a way that her mother never did for her. And, you know, just her and White Thistle have a really nice relationship, and she just wants to be happy with that. And I think this is kind of like the calm before the storm, before like everything goes downhill for her, and it's sad, but it's just a cute little moment. This shot of White Thistle is probably around the same time where I think he would I think that White Thistle is always like a pretty carefree guy. Like I have written in my notes that he even though he's, you know, he's blind and he's retired, he doesn't, none of that seems to stop him or bother him, and he doesn't care about any of that, and he will continue to help every single person that makes the way. Like, he tells stories to kids, he, you know, guards camp, he does everything he possibly can, and I think this is probably when he is told by Frostshine that, you know, she's pregnant and that they're gonna have kids together, and he is just so excited that he's like, okay, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna retire, I don't even care anymore, like, I had that near-death experience, I'm nothing more exciting in life for me than, you know, being around to, you know, see my sons and daughters, and he's just full of life around her, and it's very sweet. So I think this is him just being really excited. Now, his design, I want to talk about real quick, is he's got that thing, he's got that, what is this, the skin thing, or like the cats have the white spots, I can't remember what it's called, but he has that, and he's like the only cat that has that in the, on all of River Chasing, and it's just cute, but it also, I haven't figured out a way to put it into his design without making it look really awkward, so his design might change. I might lighten up the colors and then make those dots better. Anyways, moving on. Coyote Fang. I have always seen Coyote Fang as like a lot like his father. There's not a lot of things I think that would make him angry, and I think that he's not necessarily someone who would yell at anyone in the colony or even at other colonies, so it's kind of hard to say like when this would be or what would lead to this situation, but I think that it would probably take place during River Chasing if he ever found out some of the plots that are happening, and this might actually just be a scene that I'm writing prematurely where he figures out like all of the nonsense that's been happening, and he just confronts who did it, and he's just really angry about it. Like, I could totally see him just being upset. And yeah, I really like Coyote Fang's design. I think it's very pleasing to me. I have no idea why. It's just the colors it's nice. I think I did a really good job with this design. And that's it. Like, Coyote Fang's not really aggressive, which makes him an interesting leader, because he definitely does fit the speaking part of Fang. Next is Muddy Mask, and Muddy Mask has this really sweet little shocked expression, and this was kind of hard for me to do in my design. Like my style, I didn't know exactly how I was going to do this. Well, I don't know, I feel like the original artist did such a perfect job with it that I was like, I have to make it some more, or at least try to replicate it as best as I can, because I can totally see Muddy Mask like this. And I think it fits perfectly for her. She loves her kits, you know, she loves all three of them, and I think that this would probably be her seeing them for the first time, or just seeing any kits for the first time. She's just blown away by children. And I will say, I did forget to color her ears, and I'm sorry about that to myself. I'm apologizing to myself. But it's fine. I don't have much more to say about this. Next week I'm thinking of doing something a little bit more low-key, but I might not make that video because it'll probably take a while, so I'll probably just do more river chasing. We'll be moving on to the last protagonist in Dark Colony, which I'm excited for because this colony is the smallest colony. We worked from biggest to smallest, and this colony has a lot of really interesting things in it. The character there is Rabbit, and she's just gonna be really interesting to talk about. So I think I'll see you later for whatever that video is. Bye bye.